To Moons by Sharon Creech, Chapter 35, Old Faithful. That next day was probably one of the best, and surely the worst, in Graham and Graham's life. The whispers woke me early. It was the sixth day, and the next day was my mother's birthday. We had to get out of Wyoming and through Montana. Gramps was already up, but Graham was laying there on the bed, staring at the ceiling. Did you ever go to sleep? I asked. No, she said. I didn't feel like sleeping. I can sleep later. Let's get a move on. She climbed out of bed. Let's go see that old faithful. I've waited my whole entire life to see old faithful. We had breakfast in the main lodge and drove on into Yellowstone Park, following signs to Old Faithful. You know, Gramps teased, there are about 10,000 other geysers here. Why don't we go see any old one? I'm going to see Old Faithful, Gramps said. You sure got your heart set on that, don't you, you stubborn gooseberry? I sure do, Gramps said. We parked the car and walked up a low hill. I was afraid Gram was going to be disappointed because it didn't look like much at first. There was a rope fence around a mound on the side of the hill. People were gathered around the fence, but it was early, and we were able to get right up the rope. The ground was scrabbly dirt, and in the center of the rope enclosure, about 20 feet away, was a hole. Heck, Gramps said. Can't we get any closer than this? Gramps said. Gramps and I walked over to read a sign about Old Faithful. A park ranger rushed past us yelling, Ma'am, ma'am. He ran toward the rope fence. Go dang, Gramps said. Gram was crawling under the rope. The ranger stopped her. Ma'am, there's a reason for that rope, he said. There was a faint noise, and a little spit shot out of the hole. The man next to me said, Ah, is that all? And then another noise, this time a little louder, a grating and crunching sound like walking on gravel. Two fitful spits. Ah, the man said. Then it was like the radiator boiling over the tea kettle blowing its top. Old Faithful hissed and steamed. A sudden spout of water shot out, maybe 3 feet high. Ah, the man said, is that all? More steam, boiling and hissing, and a huge yin bang spray of water surged out, climbing, and then more and more until it looked like a whole river of water was shooting straight up into the air. It looks like an upside down waterfall, Graham said. All the while there was a walloping hissing, and I could have sworn the ground rumbled and trembled underneath us. The warm mist blew toward us, and people started backing away, all except Gram. She stood there grinning, tilting her face up to the mist, and staring at the fountain of water. Ah, she said, oh, huzza, huzza. She shouted it into the air and noise. She practically sang it out. Gramps wasn't watching Old Faithful. He was watching Gram. He put his arms around her and hugged her. You like this old geyser, don't you? He said. Oh, Gramps said. Oh, yes, I do. The man next to me was staring open mouthed at Old Faithful. Lordy, he said. Lordy, that's amazing. Gradually, Old Faithful slowed back down. We watched it undo itself and retreat back into its hole. We stood there even after everyone else had drifted away. At last, Graham sighed and said, Okay, let's go. We were inside the car and about to leave when Graham started to cry. Go, Dan, Graham said. What's the matter? Graham sniffled. Oh, nothing, she said. I'm just happy. I'm so happy I got to see Old Faithful. You old gooseberry, Graham said. And on we went. We're going to eat up Montana, Graham said. We're going to get to the Idaho border tonight. You watch me. I'm putting this metal to the pedal. He stepped down on the gas and peeled out of the parking lot. Idaho, here we come.